The Celestant Prime is the very embodiment of the Storm of Sigmar. Those who meet the Celestant Prime in battle face the full brunt of the God King's wrath, for he is the avenging angel of Azyr, the bearer of the World Hammer, and the first scion of Sigmar. Agarak Bladefiend grinned so wide he felt his face would split. Every one of the Bloodbound knew by now that the Storm Warriors were worthy adversaries. All he wanted was a hard fight, but until the assault on the people of the Crown Citadel, he had never faced them. Yet now, with their precious Sigmar worshipping cattle threatened, they had blazed down from the skies by the hundred. On the shattered peak below, where the rock formed a natural causeway to the fortress wall, a small group of shield-armed stormcasts were being battered by the frenzied assault of blood warriors led by Agarak Bladefiend. Liberator Turnus shouted, "We can't hold them back much longer!" To which Liberator Marius replied, "Show a little faith, for Sigmar would not have sent us down here just so he could reforge us anew, hey?" To which Liberator Turnus replied, "Sorry, Marinus. It's just this is the first time I fought the warriors of the Blood God, and I've never fought a foe so ferocious and frenzied." Liberator Marinus then looked to Turnus as to say something else, as Marinus always seems to find humour in these dark times. However, no words left Marinus' mouth, apart from an agonising scream. The Liberator shouted up towards the heavens, as Agarak the Bladefiend, Hungarian axe, cleaved straight through Marinus' Sigmarite armour and impaled itself into his chest, nearly cutting the Liberator in half. Liberator Turnus then ran straight towards this adversary who came, although he had never seen a warrior of such size as Agarak the Bladefiend, aspiring Deathbringer of Khorne. With relentless speed, Agarak lashed his axe out at Turnus. However, the Liberator managed to bring his shield up just in time to prevent the blow from cutting him in half as well. The force of this impact sent Turnus flying 20 meters back, with the battle raging all around him and him seeing his brothers die and fall at the hands of these bloodthirsty warriors. Turnus looked into the heavens and asked why had Sigmar sent them here, knowing they could not win, and he shouted out a prayer that Sigmar would bring his warriors salvation. Turnus heard no response from the heavens, and when he turned his gaze back onto the battlefield, he saw Agarak coming towards him with a murderous smile. He knew that he could not best this mighty warrior of Khorne. However, Turnus knew he had to give his life to try and save the innocents fleeing from the citadel behind him. Suddenly, there was a blazing light coming from the heavens, and the murderous smile that was on Agarak's face died on his lips as he saw the blazing figure descend from the clouds. It was twice the size of a mortal man, with a nimbus of magical light shining around its wings. In its hand was a weapon so holy Agarak could not even look upon it. Turnus' voice joined the thousands of the defenders of the citadel, who cried out joyous and proud at their deliverance from this evil. Suddenly the numerous figure was amongst his warriors. Sweeps of its celestial and hammer-flinging hardened blood-bound lords from the ridge, as if they were no more than scorched meat and shattered bone. Agarak's Bladefiend, the Deathbringer of Khorne, gripped his axe and climbed a spire of rock and roared a wordless challenge, as he knew if he could take this skull, this one prize for Khorne, his power and his status would be exalted to levels beyond imagining. The Celestin Prime turned, empty sockets suddenly alight with celestial energy. "Agarak of Varentai," it said, pointing at Spectre. "You were not always this way. If there is a seed of the man you once were left inside that tainted shell, I can bring you salvation." As a response, Agarak spat hard at the thing, droplets of blood crackling to nothingness. "If you are not," said the Celestin Prime, raising that godly hammer, "then die and be damned." When Sigmar first reforged a mortal into a Stormcast Eternal, he laboured long and hard at the arcane process. Many were the mysterious employed in the creation of this warrior, one who was to be an answer to the greatest champions of chaos. When this great work was complete, however, Sigmar's creation would not rise. He simply lay, inert, as if in slumber. Sigmar was not deterred, as he understood that even the greatest warrior was incomplete without the appropriate weapon. So it was that, when Sigmar's tempest broke, he sent his warriors to find and retrieve his own hammer, Galmaraz. Lost in the age of myth, the quest was difficult and costly for those who fought the Lords of Chaos guarding the resting place of the great Warhammer. Nonetheless, it was returned to the God King, and the heavens thundered to approval when Sigmar bore the weapon to the Forbidden Vault and placed it in the hand of his creation. The warrior's eyes opened and rose on blazing wings to meet his destiny. From the Celestin Prime's first strike into the realms, those Chaos Warlords that match themselves against him have found wanting. Torglog the Despised, Gerhardt of the Unshriven, and Salakar Ever-Seeking were all blessed with great power by their gods, and all met their ends upon the blunt face of the Warhammer Galmaraz, or felt the crushing impact of the Common Strike Scepter, a weapon imbued with so much celestial power it can pull meteors from the firmament and send them crashing into the enemy. Around the Celestin Prime swells the energies of his creation. These gifts from Sigmar form a mystical oracy that leads him insight into what lies ahead. Though he is a figurehead to the hammers of Sigmar, more than any other storm host, the Celestin Prime's armour will manifest the heraldry of whatever warriors he aids. Around him the Stormcast fight all the harder, for they know that Sigmar has sent his mightiest champion to help them accomplish their mission. The Warhammer Galmaraz is an icon of divine might as much as a weapon. Yet its purpose is not to sit idle. Sigmar has entrusted it to the Celestin Prime as a tool of deliverance as much as of domination. Struck with runes of justice, the hammer is a bane to chaos, and only the most powerful of the Dark God's minions can bear to look upon its radiance. Trailing twin comet tails of celestial energy when swung with sufficient force, the hammer can blast an evil man to scattering ashes. Yet its power are not merely destructive. At the Battle of the Blackstone Summit, the Celestin Prime struck the warlord Torglog the Despised with a blow that slew his plague-ridden body, but sent his soul, or at least the part of that was still noble, flying to High Azir to be reforged. So was Tornos, the redeemed given life. Since that day, the Celestant Prime has freed many others from the yoke of chaos, and a new breed of warrior has been introduced into the glorious armies of the heavens. And that was my short lore video of the Celestant Prime, which I think is a very cool character. You know me, I'm not the biggest fan of Stormcast at all, being Agent Nagash. However, that is one model I do quite like from that range, and I think he is pretty cool. He wields Galmar at the end of the day, you know, the reason why our hobby is called Warhammer. So that's pretty cool in itself. I think it's interesting how it's not just used purely for destruction, but it's also used as a way to try and salvage, you know, souls that have been like lost and cursed to chaos. In a way, how he's brought back, you know, like Torgalog and stuff. He can try and undo the corruption that chaos has done, which is very clever. I'm not really too sure how that is done, but he can do it nonetheless, which is pretty cool. Which, like we say, like for narrative and lore, that's cool, but also on a more personal scale of how you can theme your armies. Like you can have an army of Stormcast that may be a storm host that's purely made out of chaos souls that have been redeemed to, you know, goodness, if you like. So that could be some very interesting characters in there. I also just wanted to say that in this video I did things a little bit differently compared to my other short lore videos. I try to put in a bit more like a dramatic feel to it, and have it a bit more, you know, louder and punchy, that sort of thing, with a bit of narrative as well. So if you guys like that sort of thing, please let me know, or if you don't like it, let me know as well, because it does take longer to try and make it that bit more dramatic. So it's great to hear it's worth doing or not, so please let me know that in the comments. And if you did enjoy the video, please smash that like button and that subscribe button if you haven't already, as it massively helps the channel, and it's absolutely free for you guys to do so. If you'd like to support the channel a step further, I have got a Patreon, which you can find at the top of the description down below. And that Patreon is how I can continue to make videos. It doesn't just help towards the channel, it is the reason how I can continue this channel. So I want to say a massive shout out to all my patrons who do a fantastic job. You'll see them on the screen now. Really can't thank them enough. And if you'd like to become one of them, like I say, just check out that link down below. Okay guys, so like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember, until next time, stay hygienic, wear a mask, wash your hands, and of course remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.